We're here at the Vancouver Resource Conference. I'm sitting down with Jim Paterson, CEO of Valor. And something we wanted to talk about is whether you're an aspiring investor or you're looking to get into a career in mining or otherwise, determination is obviously key. Jim wanted to share some insights on this, so Jim, go ahead.
Kevin, great to be here. Before I start, as a big fan of Between Two Ferns, I'm both excited and terrified by this interview. Let's see how it plays out. On determination, we talked about this before, whether you're an investor or you're starting your career, not giving up is a big determinant of success. And so I think we talked about kind of coming up with a few stories that in my over 20 years of experience, where just being diligent and staying at it made all the difference. So that's the big thing. But one story in particular, when I first started in the business, or before I'd started in the business, I was at BCIT, which is a school in Burnaby. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, but I kind of had an idea that I wanted to be a commodities trader. And I didn't know anybody who was a commodities trader, but I knew one friend whose dad was in the mining sector. And so I thought it must be the same thing, a commodities trader, mining business. So I called this poor gentleman over 20 times. He did not pick up the phone. It always went to his receptionist. And on the 21st time, he finally picked up the phone and said, "You are so annoying. You've got to come down and work for me in investor relations." And that was literally my first job in the sector, and I've been here for over 21 years.
There you go.
Makes a huge difference. Many times throughout my career, I've heard people say no multiple times for investing, or I'm making them an offer on an asset acquisition. And you can wear them down. You have to be polite. You have to be working on building a relationship. But taking no for an answer isn't something you should do.
Right. And from an investing standpoint, I think a lot of investors will kind of dip their toe in the water. They'll maybe write a check into a private placement for an exploration company, and it turns out that they actually didn't find any kind of resource. And obviously, at that point, many people just want to give up and write off, mining or otherwise in general. But I think it's important that you learn from those mistakes, you recalibrate, and you move on. So I'm sure you've had your fair share, I'm sure, of opportunities where you've maybe wanted to quit. And from an investing standpoint, you've obviously continued and carried on. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's a good point. I think I have 3 examples in my career where stepping up and investing in my own deal, even when I was scared, beepless, to do so. First one was a company called Corsa. We were in the middle of the financial crisis. There was no bid whatsoever on Corsa, and I started buying my own stock. I was the CEO of the company, and for 6 months to a year, I was the only person buying it. We ended up doing a spectacular deal with that. And had I not done that, had I not bought the stock, I would have been in serious financial trouble because it provided a huge win that dug me out of a bunch of other holes that I dug myself into. Northern Empire was a deal where before we concluded a transaction, there was a period of uncertainty. I was also a really big buyer of my own stock, and it ended up working out spectacularly. We sold Northern Empire to Core Mining for $117 million. And now recently with Valor, I'm the chairman and CEO. I've been buying a lot of my own stock. I put my money where my mouth is. And I think that's what you got to be. You got to be committed. You got to be dogmatic. Once you know something, you can't let people sway you from your path.
And you really go all in on the companies you believe in. I was looking at Valor, and I noticed that you actually own a very large piece of that company yourself. So clearly, you're not all talk. You are putting your money where your mouth is.
I try not to be all talk and no walk.
And I see you buying in the market there too. So I'll give you a little pitch here. I'd say go check out Valor. That's a company that's on my radar right now. Palladium is obviously something that everybody's talking about. Whether you understand anything about mining or not, you're probably seeing Palladium pop up in the news all the time. So go check them out. Thanks so much for coming to talk to me.
Thank you.